أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه الصلاة والسلام ومن خطبة له عليه السلام وهي من أفصح كلامه عليه السلام وفيها يعظ الناس ويهديهم من ضلالتهم ويقال إنه خطبها بعد قتل طلحة والزبير وقال بنا اهتديتم في الظلماء وتسنمتم ذروة العلياء وبنا أفجرتم عن السرار وقر سمع لم يفقه الواعيا صلوات الله محمد وآل محمد فین آن کر دیں Inshallah, very quickly we'll go over this khutbah number 4 from Nahj al-Balaghah. Alhamdulillah, we were able to cover the first 3 khutbahs. We're on khutbah number 4. Inshallah, we'll complete it in this one session today, hopefully. In this khutbah, which of course is mentioned that in this sermon people are admonished and guided away from their misguidance. It is said that this khutbah took place after the killing of Talha and Zubair. When both of them were killed, it contains some of the most eloquent words spoken by Imam. Begins by saying, Bina ihtadaytum fi dhuluma, that through us you got guidance in the darkness and secured high position. And through us you got out of the gloomy night. The ears which do not listen to the cries may become deaf. In the beginning of the sermon, Imam refers to the abundant blessings and remarkable favors bestowed upon Muslims, especially those who embraced Islam in those early days. He eloquently explains this matter in 3 concise sentences, or the statements that I first recited for you, adorned with beautiful analogies. The first sentence, Imam alludes to the condition of the pre-Islamic era, period characterized by ignorance, of course, jahiliyyat, zaman-e-jahiliyyat, corruption, widespread crime, lawlessness, in other words. He mentions that in the light of the presence of Prophet, people discovered the straight path and swiftly moved toward their destination. Bina ihtadaytum, through us you were given the guidance, meaning you were brought out of the darkness and secured those high positions. Second sentence, Imam says, وَبِنَا أَفْجَرْتُمْ عَنِ السِّرَارِ. He compares progress and development to an animal. When he says, this animal which has strong bones and the back, what was the animal that was being used in the time? Camels, horses, right? Here Imam refers to camel because of the camel back and because of the hump. When he says tasannamtum, refers to the camel's hump. When Imam uses that word tasannamtum, that you secured high position, he states you have reached the top of that hump, signifying the pinnacle of progress. Al-yawm akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam deena. So you've reached that pinnacle, that progress, that perfection that became the destiny of Muslims in the light of Islam. Historians from both East and West acknowledge and admit this in their writings when explaining the Islamic civilization up until, of course, the 7th century, when it was on the rise, and then, of course, then the downfall. Then third sentence, وَبِنَا أَفْجَرْتُمْ عَنِ السَّرَارِ. He metaphorically likens the state of the pre-Islamic society to the dark nights. The dark nights and the eclipse. The word sirar signifies nights in which moon does not shine at all. Opposite of these ayyam that we're going through. We're going through what? Ayyam-e-bidh, which are mushriq, meaning bright. You know, when you look outside, of course it's raining, but you look up on the sky in these nights, white, bright moon illuminates the entire night. But the nights in which moon does not shine, Imam uses that as a metaphor. He says, through the Prophet and his family, the veils of darkness were lifted and the dawn and intense happiness entered within. So bina, with us, with our wujud, this darkness that was prevailing in the pre-Islamic era, that was removed. Look at the beautiful analogy Imam uses, the word sirar, referring to the dark nights when the moon does not really shine, then to these ayyam-e-bidh, in which ironically Imam's wiladat is also in these ayyam-e-bidh, 13th of Rajab. Then Imam ﷺ, as a reproach to those who do not have attentive ears, and as an appreciation for the perspective and knowledgeable individuals, Imam says, وَقْرٌ, rather وُقِرَ سَمْعٌ لَمْ يَفْقَهِ الْوَاعِيَ. The ears which do not listen to the cries may become what? Deaf. A lot of time you're talking to someone, trying to get their attention. Because they're busy in something else, they don't pay attention. They don't listen. And that's how human nature is. You cannot be occupied with more than one thing at a time. We're not really made for multitasking. Very few people are able to multitask. So, but if someone is capable of hearing, but yet does not pay attention. So the term wuqira is used for both deaf and the hardness of the ear. The meaning of wa'iya is to heed loud proclamations and refers to explicit and compelling verses of Quran. That these Quranic verses are there as eye-openers for you. Summun bukmun umyun wa hum la yafqahun. That they have eyes, but they don't look through with them. They have hearts, but they do not ponder with these hearts. They have ears, but they do not listen through these ears. Similar is being mentioned over here. The Quran on important matters of belief, practice, ethics, as well as the practices of the Prophet and of Islam. It talks about all of that, but what you're doing, you're putting a deaf ear to it. You're not paying attention to it. The expression lam yafqahe, did not comprehend, from fiqahat. Yafqahe comes from the word fiqh. We have fiqh, right? Fiqh Islami, Islamic laws. The word fiqh or tafaqquh fi ad-din refers to what? Refers to pondering. Is used instead of lam yasma. Imam should have said waqira sam'un lam yasma. Instead Imam said waqira sam'un lam yafqah. This is again the beauty and the eloquence of the words of Imam. You and I, if we were using this, we would have said waqira sam'un, the hearing is impending or deaf because they don't listen. Imam said, no, impending because they don't pay attention. Meaning what? They're able to hear. They're able to listen. They're paying attention to it. But their hearts are still what? Their hearts are not, picking up that information. Because mere hearing has no effect. The important thing is to be able to comprehend. Anyone can hear. But how many of them are comprehending? Quran says, what? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Quran is the book for those who are muttaqeen. No, book is for everyone. You can give it to anyone. You give it to non-Muslim. How much are they going to be able to learn and grasp from this book? Not much. But those who are muttaqeen, that heart is capable of comprehending this Quran. How can someone who has been deafened by the croak of a frog hear the sweet melody. He said, وَكَيْفَ يُرَاعِي وَكَيْفَ يُرَاعِ النَّبَأَةَ مَنْ أَصَمَّتْهُ الصَّيْحَةُ. How can the one who remained deaf to the loud cries of Quran and the Prophet listen to my feeble voice? Imam is being humble over here. He said, they didn't listen to Rasulullah. They didn't pay attention to Quran, and you think they're going to pay attention to me? Rasulullah kept on mentioning, kept on saying, and they denied. They agreed on the day of Ghadir, they denied on the day of Saqifa. They didn't pay attention then, you think they're going to listen to my voice? Of course, Imam is being overly generous and humble here. Of course, Imam's words have immense effect. Reference is made to the fact that those who trample upon the commandments of God and the noble Prophet, how can it be possible for them to listen to my words? He said, Rubita jananun lam yufariqhu al-khafaqan. The heart that has ever palpitated with the fear of Allah may get peace. This is the second portion of the khutbah. In this part of the sermon, Imam addresses the survivors of the Battle of Jamal. Now, refer to Talha and Zubair who lost their lives, but it refers to those who did not lose their lives in the Battle of Jamal, and those who survived. He said, I was always anticipating the consequences of your betrayal. And here, Imam ﷺ, when he says your betrayal, it is mentioned that after pledging allegiance to Imam Ali, both Talha and Zubair later sought permission from Imam to go to Umrah. They said, Imam, we want to go to Umrah. Imam knew why they want to go to Umrah. Why are they headed to Makkah? Imam, who perceived the signs of hypocrisy from and the betrayal in them, once again took their pledge of loyalty and allegiance. They said, Imam, no, we're loyal to you, but we want to go to Umrah. Imam said, Bismillah. But Imam could see and smell the hypocrisy that was brewing at that time. However, as we know, they did not remain faithful to the pledge. And they ignited the flames of Battle of Jamal. So this is ishara toward Battle of Jamal. In that battle, more than 10,000 Muslims perished, and undoubtedly many others were complicit and partners in this conspiracy. Despite having pledged to Imam ﷺ, especially these two, Talha and Zubair, they engaged in betrayal, and the individuals addressed by Imam Ali were part of this group. Imam said, Ma ziltu antadhiru bikum awaqib al-ghadri wa tawassamukum bihiliyatil mukhtarrin hatta satarani ankum jilbabul deen wa bassara sidqan niyya. He says, I always apprehended from you consequences of treachery, and I had seen you through in the garb of the deceitful. So Imam was able to see that from the very beginning. The curtain of religion kept me hidden from you, but the truth of my intentions disclosed you to me. This is like an Imam being very humble about it. You know, you and I can perceive individuals easily. You spend an hour with someone, you can easily tell, what that person is made of. You travel with someone, you can easily tell what that person is made of. Kitna pani mein. That's human nature. We're able to study people. An Imam out of all the people is capable of studying his companions, those who are loyal to him and those who are not loyal to him. So he adds, but it was due to your concealment in the garment of religion. They always presented themselves as what? Muslimin, mu'mineen. In fact, in the beginning of Islam, they were with Imam Ali, stood by him. Why do you think people are still in doubt about what Muawiyah did? Because Muawiyah always took care of Zahir-e-Deen. Zahir-e-Deen, he took care of it. He never went against, did not do any takhalluf of religion openly. As opposed to his son, of course, Yazid, who would openly drink and who would do all of these things openly. He didn't care for it. Muawiyah was careful in this regard. That's why many people are still, deceived by his ways of doing things. So Imam said, it was due to your concealment in the garment of religion that I overlooked, did not expose you. Insan janta hai bacche ne galat kaam kiya, but you sarf nazar, you don't look toward him. So let go of it. Maybe, he'll fix himself. Imam said, that's what I did to you. While the purity of the heart informed me from within you, and I was aware of your conspiracies and deception by the divine favor. Allah had already informed me. Or I had that inkling that what you're about to do. In fact, these two sentences of Imam serve as a response to those two questions. Firstly, if the Imam anticipated their betrayal, pata hai ki bhai, these people are going to be what? Betraying Imam. Preemptive strike. Imam could have easily removed them. So Imam, if knew about their betrayal and saw the signs, why did he not make it public? Why didn't Imam just go out and tell Talha and Zubair, beware of them? Their intentions are not good. And secondly, how did he, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, secondly, how did he gain insight into their inner souls? First question, Imam states, the concealment within the veil of religion required that this secret remain concealed, right? He says, I always apprehended from you the consequences, treachery, the garb of deceitful, the curtain of religion kept me hidden. So Imam answers it over here. Regarding the second question, the purity of the heart made me aware. Some commentators of Nahj al-Balaghah suggested that another possibility for the interpretation of this first sentence, claiming that Imam is saying, you did not recognize me. You being hypocrite, you being munafiq, is failure of you understanding me and not me understanding you. I knew well who you are, but giving this time, you did not fully recognize me. If you had recognized me, then you would not have changed your path. Aajkal hum log jo baat karte hain, when we talk about ma'rifat-e-imam, when you go for the ziyarat, go to the ziyarat with the ma'rifat. Don't go without this ma'rifat. That ma'rifat was lacking in people at that time as well. They did not know the Masjid-e-Ali of Imam, that he's not someone who's chosen by the people. He's the divine selection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, for that reason, that is because incorrect perceptions and misinterpretations of religion hindered your recognition of me. Misunderstandings. People say, oh, this is Zawjatul Nabi. How could she be wrong? This is, the family of Rasulullah. How could they be wrong? And therefore, if the family of Rasulullah is leading this battle, let's go along with it. Let's be part of this. He said, you fail to recognize me. My maqam. My maqam is above and beyond these family members of Rasulullah. So this is where Imam is sort of complaining. He said, or my religion prevented your recognition of me. Quickly moving along, not much left. Imam says, أقمت لكم على سنن الحق في جواد المظلة حيث تلتقون ولا دليل وتحتفرون ولا تميهون. I stood for you on the path of truth among misleading tracks where you met each other, but there was no leader, and you dug but got no water. Again, Imam is using the analogy over here, is that al-yawm antiqu lakumul ajma dhat al-bayan. Today I'm making these dumb things speak to you. That is my suggestive ideas and deep musings, which are full of descriptive power. Let's decipher what Imam is saying over here. So this is the last portion of the khutbah. In conclusion, he says, I stood beside you, I stood beside the misleading path to guide you to the right path, to the path of truth. That's what Imam's duty is. At a time when you gathered together, lacked guidance, were deserving of a worthy leader, and were searching for a spring of life. Insan kuआं खोद रहा होता है पानी निकालने के लिए. You're trying to get to that spring of life, yet you couldn't reach your destination. In reality, Imam likens them to the end of third Khalifa's reign, Uthman's reign. Travelers who lost their way, trapped in the desert, burning with thirst, digging the ground everywhere to find water but failing. Imagine in a situation where you're thirsty and you're looking for it and you're unable to find it. How much panic it'll create in you. However, Imam comes to their aid, guides them, provides water to them, metaphorically speaking, gives them what they need to quench their thirst, to bring them to the straight path. And quenching their thirst with the spring of guidance, he pays attention to them and emphasizes that if he had not been there during those dark and stormy times, they would have faced immense religious and worldly difficulties and tribulations. So it is me who is able to bring you out of all of this. Then he says, the term ajma, al-yawm antiq lakum al-ajma, the word ajma literally means mute animals. The Imam here is comparing these people to those animals who don't talk. But sometimes it is also used to refer to the events and issues. There are certain events that are silent events. They don't leave behind any meaningful things to us. An event took place, had no meaning, had no value. We didn't understand anything from that event. Some event took place, you're puzzled, like, what was this all about? So certain events are mute. But there are many events that speak loud. Actions speak louder, right? So here Imam says, either these people or there are certain events. Therefore, many commentators of Nahj al-Balaghah believe that in this context, ajma refers to instructive events that have occurred during his time or in the past, each having its own silent language, providing lessons and admonition for people. This battle of Jamal is taking place. This battle of Nahrawan is taking place. This battle of Siffin is taking place. People are raising Quran onto the spears. All of this speaks volumes. You just need to open your ears and listen. Imam expresses their message more eloquently here and in other instances, explaining the instructive points in them. Some interpretations suggest that it refers to perfect qualities of Imam or divine commands, which are as if silent, and Imam articulates their words. What does he say? He says, Azaba ra'yu imri'in takhallafa anni ma shakaktu fil haqqi mudh urituhu. He said, the opinion of the person who abandons me may get astray. I have never doubted in the truth since it has been shown to me. There's a mistake there. Since it has been shown to me. So, in fact, the beginning and the end of this statement, such as the cause and the effect or the evidence for the claim, considering that Imam was nurtured in the lap of righteousness. Rasulullah speaks about it, and the later khutbah Imam will mention how I was raised. Rasulullah would chew a morsel and then place it into my mouth. And he opened abwab of knowledge for me, and each bab had thousands other doors of knowledge that opened for me. Grew up in the embrace of Rasulullah, was always the scribe of revelation, he was writing it. Witnessed the miracles with his own eyes and caused a few miracles to happen as well. Is also known as the gate of the city of knowledge. Babu Madinatul Ilm. Rasulullah said, Ana Madinatul Ilm waliyun babuha. Serving as the entrance to the city of Prophet's knowledge. Additionally, Imam not only reached the knowledge of the apparent world, but also attained the knowledge of the unseen and the inner reality. That Imam has alluded to, that Ali is more aware of the paths of the heavens than he is aware of the paths of this world. So his knowledge of that unseen. Thumma, he said, Lam yujis Musa alayhi salam khifatan ala nafsihi bal ashfaqa min ghalabati al-juhali wa duna al-dalal wa duwal al-dalal. Here Imam makes a reference to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Inshallah we'll conclude with this. In this third sentence, Imam responds to a question that might arise after the story of the Battle of Jamal. Why was Imam concerned about it? He states, my concerns were never for myself. You think I was concerned about myself? Oh, I'm going to lose this power. I'm going to lose this Khilafat al-Zahiri, which only is there for a few. No. Or I'm worried about my life. Imam already explained what his vision of life is. A chewed up morsel or the sneezing of a goat. This is the value of, this worldly life in front of Imam. You think I'm worried about myself? He said, no, I was not concerned about myself. My concern was never for myself, but for the possibility that with the arrival of Prophet's wife on the battlefield, the false accusation of the bloodthirstiness of the killers of Uthman and the presence of a group of treacherous companions, Talha and Zubair, in the enemy's army, some of the common people might be fooled. And that's what happened. Common folks were fooled by it. They saw Aisha there, Ummul Mu'mineen. They saw Talha there, they saw Zubair there. All these prominent companions, what did it lead to? Of course, misleading. You see someone prominent, go ahead and endorse something, right away you're going to go after that product. That's why these people they hire and they endorse these celebrities to have more and more following. So, Imam, that's why I said, just like the concerns Hazrat Musa alayhi salam had when he was facing the magicians, Musa never felt fear for himself. He wasn't fearful. Rather, he feared that the ignorant and the misguided powers might prevail, leading people astray. فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً Musa. Surah Taha, ayat number 67 is the similar words. And then Imam said, Al-Yawm, last two words. Al-Yawm tawaqafna ala sabil al-haqq wal-batil. Man wathiqa bima'in lam yazma. Today we stand on the crossroads of truth and untruth. The one who is sure of getting water feels no thirst. In this fourth sentence, Imam warns the people and the survivors of the Battle of Jamal, stating that today we and you are standing at the crossroads of truth and falsehood. In other words, we are on one path and you are on another path. We are in the realm of truth, and unfortunately you are on the edge of abyss and falsehood. Open your eyes and see your situation. It's not too late. You have deviated from the leadership of your Imam. You have disgraced or disregarded the sanctity of allegiance. Jo bayat tumne li thi, the bayat when you said, Ubay'u laka, and you have broken the divine covenant. You have created a rift among Muslims, spilled the blood of significant group. You have shouldered a great responsibility before Allah on the day of resurrection, and of course you'll be held accountable. Finally, the last sentence, Man wathiqa bima'in lam yazma. Imam says, one who has assurance of water will not be thirsty. And false sensations of thirst that usually afflict a person in moments of fear of water shortage will not affect him. It's not going to have any effect on me. The reference is to the fact that the one who has a confident leader and guides does not fail nor go into doubt or uncertainty, satanic temptations, anxiety, lack of trust. This is because they feel themselves beside the spring of clear knowledge. Those who are standing with me, they don't have any of these fears. As long as you know you trust in your leader, you don't have any of these fears. Leader will take care of all of these things. And they seek refuge in him during difficulties, taking commands and directives from him. Similarly, if you recognize and trust your leader, you will confidently tread the path of truth, free from instability, doubt, and the temptations of the ego and shaitan. And this is where Imam concludes this khutbah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.